Hello, 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 and once again, welcome back down the rabbit hole. It's Icarus 480 back with a new edition of Icarus Storytime for you guys. I do apologize for everybody who's been waiting for part 3 of Tales of the Street. Have no fear, for the time is here. Before I begin this Storytime series, I just want to give a huge shout out to all of Colorado. I fucking love you guys. Stay spungled. So let's waste no time. Into our psychedelic time machine we go. Smoke DMT. So there I was, right? In a doctor's office. A man in a white coat comes in and says, "Who's ready to have a baby?" I'm like, "What?" He says, "Yep, you guys are going into labor." So we both look at each other, look at him, look back at each other. We don't know what the fuck's going on. No idea. We don't know if that means, oh, you're going to start delivering the motherfucker right here, or like what's going on? Because we had a whole birth plan, right? We wanted our son to be born in Chandler Regional Medical Center, which was the same place we took a lot of our parenting classes, and we took a tour of the hospital, and that was our plan, was to have it there. Amazing hospital. We weren't at that hospital. Shout out to the natives. We were at the Hohokam Memorial Hospital in Sackatoon, Arizona. So the doctor calmed us down, reassured us, and said, you know what? You guys got a lot of time before the baby actually comes. So we're going to go ahead and transport you to that hospital. I'm like, sweet, let's do this. We inform our parents, okay, it's about to go down, homie. So they're like, okay, start calling family members and stuff. As that's happening, they put her on a stretcher and put her in the back of a fucking ambulance like she's the bride of Frankenstein and shit. So I get in the front of the ambulance. We start headed to Chandler, which is about 45 minutes away. You know, she's in the back. I can't see her. I'm driving next to this white guy who looks like Guy Fieri, much skinnier version of Guy Fieri. He's got spiked hair. He's got the glasses. He's got like a goatee and shit. But he looks like Guy Fieri if Guy Fieri was a Trump supporter who also owned like 4 AR-15s. But what was very peculiar about this guy was that he was bumping rap music as he's driving in the ambulance. So I'm like listening to Snoop Dogg, like Ice Cube, Eazy-E, NWA, and all that shit. And he's just driving with one hand, which I don't believe is, you know, medical practice. But this dude's just like driving and bumping. You know, again, this guy's much older than me. He's probably had kids before. It's probably been in my situation. So I turned to him and I asked him, hey, man, you got any kids? Looks at me, he's like, nah, and then just keeps driving. I'm like, okay, well, there goes my hand of advice. So we keep going. We pull up into Chandler Regional Medical Center. They put her in this waiting room, and now we just sit there and fucking wait. You know, she's going through pain. Time's ticking and ticking and ticking. I'm trying to take her mind off the stomach pain and everything like that. We start watching TV, and I remember we started watching this thing on VH1. It was like the dude from Kiss, Gene Simmons, was looking for love or something, and they made a TV show out of it. So we watched like 4 episodes of it, and it was honestly retarded as fuck. But yeah, we were just trying to make time pass. So time passes, you know, her grandparents are there, who are her parents. They raised her, and then my mom's there and stuff like that. So they start calling all of our family members and stuff like that. Oh my God, the baby's coming, blah, 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 blah. So as that's all going on, we get wheeled into the room where the baby's going to be born, the delivery room, right? So I'm sitting there chilling. You know, we're waiting for the epidural and the centimeters to, whatever, get to the point of time. I don't know. Pregnancy, man, it's weird. So as this is all going on, both of our family is now crowding in the waiting room. Right? So I'm like, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to go make sure everything's okay, because my family and her family completely hated each other. It was like getting all the Nazis and all the fucking fighters from World War II in the United States and just putting them in a living room together. Like shit was ready to pop off. So like I try to come in there like, hey, what's up? I'm Icarus 4.0. Hey, you guys ready to have a baby? So what about airplane food? You know, I'm trying to just not let the tension rise, right? So her grandma hated the fuck out of me for very obvious reasons. So I started talking to her like, hey, how you doing? Like, you ready to meet your grandson? She's staring at me all pissed off. I'm like, how you feeling? She's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, I'm hungry too. You want some food? I'll go get some food. Hold on. So I go and ask my mom for some money. Like, hey, can you give me some money or buy some food? She gives me some money. I'm like, yeah, I can get you whatever you want. What do you want? She's like, well, just get me whatever you think I'd like. Bitch, I don't know you. Okay. I know you're Mexican. So that means you probably like a lot of jalapeno, guacamole, you know what I'm saying? Like that cheese, the queso, bro. Like, all right, throw some beans on that bitch. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to make a sandwich I think an older Mexican woman would like. So I buy my sandwich, which is like basically a Philly cheesesteak. And I'm starving, dude. Like, I haven't eaten in 24 hours. So I go back and I give her this sandwich, and I'm so proud of it. Like, yo, you're going to love this. And I start eating mine. She's eating it, and she's liking it, right? And she's like, oh, this is so good. I'm like, sweet. Like, we're bonding. There's some shit's going down here, right? And then I was like, yo, take a bite of mine. And she takes a bite of it and just loves it, dude. Loves it. I was probably 3/4 of the way through the sandwich, and she's like, oh my God, that's so good. And then she just kept eating it. Just kept eating it. I'm sitting there watching her just munch my sandwich. I'm like, holding her is like, oh, this tastes like shit. Like, huh? And then she's like, I'm sorry, can I have this sandwich? It's so good. I'm like, yeah, you can have it. And I'm trying to eat the sandwich. I'm like, this tastes like shit. This fucking tastes like shit. So they call me back like, hey, Mr. Florido, can you come over here, please? Like, yeah. Can you hold, her hand? We're going to give her the epidural. I'm like, all right, sweet. So they put a giant needle in her back and give her the epidural, whatever. And they were like, yeah, we probably got like 3 more hours until she actually has to start pushing. I'm like, cool. I'm fucking exhausted, dude. Like, I'm tired. I've been up for literally like 16 hours. I'm ready to go to sleep. So they bring in this giant exercise ball that looks like a peanut, literally shaped like a peanut, and they put it between her legs. I guess it helps open the cervix or something, birth stuff. So I'm all right. I'm gonna take a little nap. Please wake me if anything happens. When shit starts to pop off, please call me. They're like, okay, cool. So I pass out. It literally feels like I fall asleep for a second, and my mom grabs me, wakes me up, like, the doctor's coming in. They're gonna start pushing. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go behind her. I'm like, how you feeling? She's just crying and in pain. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I passed out. She's like, it's okay. This sucks. I'm like, yo, you got this. You got this, kid. I believe in you. So she starts pushing, right? I mean, I don't really know how to explain childbirth. Vagina open, push, and then this goes on for like a good 45 minutes. So that's where it starts to get pretty crazy, man. Through the vaginal opening, I start to see hair, right? Just little bits of hair, scalp, right? And I'm looking at it like, whoa, this is gross, but very fucking cool. So they put in a mirror. So like, it was kind of weird. They put in a mirror where like from our view, we could see everything happening down there. So I just kind of stood like behind her and like held on to her and was like looking at this mirror, and like I just see this hair grow. And like, I'm like, yo, the boy's coming. That's when the doctor or the nurse turns, looks at someone, and they get to her ear and they start whispering, and then he turns and whispers at someone else, and the next thing you know, the room starts going crazy, and then everyone kind of takes notice of it, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? So the nurse comes up to us, pulls her face mask off, and says, okay, look, guys, we have a problem. We're like, what's the problem? They're like, okay, so he's in a very awkward position. He's coming face up and sideways, which is very rare. Normally, if we catch this on earlier, it has to be a C-section. However, she's too far dilated for it to be a C-section, so she has to give birth naturally like this. There's no problem. Nothing's going to happen with her or anything, but it's very possible the cord could be wrapped around his neck. Like, bro, what the fuck? Shit got very fucking dark, dude. Very fucking quick. And like at that point in time, I wasn't religious. I literally started praying. I started hoping, like, oh my God, please don't let it be this way. Like, please don't let this be my memory, man. So they're pushing, they're pulling. And next thing you know, his whole scalp was out. and they just, whoosh, he just slid out, dude, like a slip and slide, man. He was there. My spawn, my seed, my son. They did the little nose thing, and I cut the cord. They handed him to her, and she started crying, holding on to him. And they handed him to me. When I held him in my arms, it was literally like the whole room disappeared. Nothing existed. Nothing in this world existed. I wasn't homeless. I never went to prison. I was nobody. I was nothing. I was everything with him. He stopped crying as I held him. I looked at him, and the first words I ever said to my son, Bryson Kenneth Ramon, was, I will always protect you. I will always protect you. I've never in this world felt such unconditional love in my entire life. Like, I've never immediately just clinged on to something and was like, this is my precious. I will die for this. I will fucking die for this. This was my boy, dude. The sense of pride rose through me like a fucking fire, man. Like someone's just standing there with a match and just pouring gallons of gas. It just kept growing inside of me, dude. I was complete. For the very first time in my life, I knew my purpose on this earth. It's my boy. That's my fucking boy, dude. So beautiful. 7 pounds, 11 ounces. 7 pounds, 11 ounces. That is the luckiest fucking number in the world. That boy's going to win the motherfucking lottery, dude. Oh, it was incredible. It was incredible. And so they took him away and had to do whatever. He was a little jaundiced, so they had to put him inside of a fish tank for a little bit. And we passed out, man. We went to sleep. We slept for a fat period of time. My mom took care of my boy when he came back. And I kind of got frustrated with the medical staff. This is extremely weird. But I just thought about how weird that is. Okay, whatever. I'll just fucking explain it. So the circumcision came, right? Do we want to circumcise him? I want to circumcise him because obvious reasons. Don't want to have non-matching dicks. So they were like, okay, we're going to circumcise him. I was like, yo, I want to be there for it. Not that I want to see a circumcision happen. It was just like, I want to make sure my son's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I need to be by my son's side. And then everyone, like all the medical staff and everyone was like, no, you can't be there. You can't be there for it. You can't be there for it. And I'm like, I want to be there. Like, I'm his fucking father. I want to be there. My mom's like, why do you want to be there? I'm like, they're about to rip his flesh off. Like, I feel like I should be there. She's like, no, you don't need to be. I don't know if that's weird or not, but maybe it's just a new dad being like, yo, dad's kicking in. No one's touching my kid without me being there. But yeah, no, I didn't get to see the circumcision. It came out okay, though. Seen the kid piss many times. But, yeah, so we were there for about a good three days, and then we buckle him up and we take him home, right? Beautiful fucking kid. So we go home, and everything's now white picket fence. Everything's happy. My mom's stoked to be a grandma. She invites me back to the house. You know, you're going to find a job while you still live here, and, you know, you still can live here and, like, take care of your boy and stuff like that. So that happened about a good 2 or 3 months. Still couldn't find a job, man. The economy sucked, and literally it wasn't like I wasn't looking. Just couldn't find it. So me and my baby's mom had gotten into a couple fights. So it was best if we just separated, you know, not break up or anything. She went to go stay with her grandma. I was still living at my mom's. But once she left, my mom and me really got neck to neck, and I found myself back on the streets. So I was back on the streets, still doing the shit I did, sleeping in the streets, whatever. My dad once again offered me to come back to live on the res and try to continue finding a job. And I told him, nope, absolutely not, man. My son's born. If my son chokes in the middle of the night, how would I feel if I'm fucking 2 hours away? I'm not fucking going anywhere. He's like, okay, cool, whatever. So I started hanging out at a McDonald's, right? Literally, I would hang out at McDonald's all the time because I had an iPod Touch. I could get Wi-Fi there. I could charge my phone. I could buy dollar burgers. You know, I go outside, ask 4 people for a quarter. I got a burger. I can eat lunch, right? So McDonald's became my establishment. Still had nowhere to sleep. I was sleeping in the alleyways. So I was sleeping in this alleyway near this elementary school, and one day I wake up to a cop, like, pushing on my chest with his foot, waking me up, and I'm like, hey, he's like, all right, what's going on, man? Why are you here? I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm homeless, like this and that. I start explaining the whole story to him, like, I'm just sleeping, I have nowhere to go. He's like, okay, well, you know there's an elementary school right there, and you're not allowed to sleep here. I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, do you have any ID? I'm like, yeah. So I give him my ID, and I start explaining the whole situation, like, my dad's a police officer, sir. Like, I'm just homeless. Like, I just don't want to be away from my son, this and that. He's like, okay. So he runs my name, comes back. He's like, well, you have no warrants or anything, but once again, man, you can't sleep here. And I was like, yeah, dude, like, I know, I'll find somewhere else to sleep. He's like, how old are you? I'm like, 19. He's like, that's crazy, man. He's like, look, dude, you didn't hear this from me, but there's a house on this corner right here on Diamond Drive. I know the back door doesn't lock, and nobody lives there. I know there's carpet in there. Do with that information as you will. But once again, I never told you anything. And he hands me $20. And he says, keep in touch with your dad and keep your head up, man. And walks away. Now, I'm always very prideful of hating the police, but in all honesty, not all cops are bastards, dude. This guy really helped me the fuck out. So I found that house, I went in the back door, and I literally had a 2-story abandoned house to myself. The most comforting sleep I've had in a very long time. So I was like staying there while I was still staying at that McDonald's, right? So I stayed at that McDonald's enough to the point where they started taking notice that I was there. So I was sitting there one night. A manager comes and sits down as she's waiting for a ride home. Asked me, why are you always here? And I'm like, well, I'm homeless. She's like, you're homeless? How old are you? I was like, I just turned 19, like 4 months ago. She's like, you don't have a job or anything? You don't have anywhere to go? I was like, no, I sleep in an abandoned house not too far from here. She's like, have you ever tried applying here? I was like, I've tried applying here a couple times, but they won't hire me because I have stretched years. And she's like, well, you know, we're really hiring right now, and being that you're here all the time, I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't come here, so you should apply. I'm like, okay. So I sent in an application. She's comes to me the next day, and she's like, hey, I'm going to set up an interview for you on Tuesday. I'm like, okay, cool. So Tuesday comes around, I sit down, she asks me stupid questions like, how do you work with other people? Can you multitask? What's the best qualities about yourself? And I'm just giving her basic answers. She's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to hire you because I feel people deserve a chance. And you know what? You're here all the time, and I think you could really work. I'm like, are you fucking serious? She's like, yeah. You start Tuesday. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I call my mom. I tell her, hey, like, I got a job. Like, can I come stay with you? Like, this and that. She's like, yeah, if you really got a job, like, all right, cool. Boom. Bam. Everything's working, right? I got a new place. I got a job. And that, my friends, is part 3. Wait for part 4. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram, Icarus480, just like you see here, just mashed together into one word. Before I leave, though, I want to tell a very funny story of me and P-Fresh that happened while I was homeless. So during this entire course of time, one day I went to go meet P-Fresh, and we went to the mall, right? We're walking around just doing our own thing. We come across the Spencer's Gifts, right? And there's these 2 girls sitting outside of Spencer's who have just got nabbed by security for stealing or whatever. You know, they're sitting down, security is on the radio, and I see them and I point to them to P-Fresh. I'm like, yo, dude, look at that. How stupid do you have to be to get caught stealing? You know what? I'm going to walk in there. I'm going to steal a blow-up doll, and I'm going to walk out. And he's like, you're not fucking down. I was like, bet. I'm going to show you what the streets taught me. So we walk in right by security and right by the 2 girls that got nabbed for fucking stealing whatever. I walk in and I find a blow-up doll called Finally Miley. It was a Miley Cyrus blow-up doll. And I tuck it in my waistband and I walk the fuck out. As I walk out of that fucking store, I walk up to those 2 girls sitting down who just got nabbed by security, looked them straight in the eyes and said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You always gotta be the smarter crook. I'm Icarus480. Peace, love, and smoke DMT.